Now I just want to say a couple of things overall about it. So what are projects about? What do we aspire to at High-Tech High? And these are things that I've seen here in spots in the presentations that we've heard this morning. We aspire to, first of all, to authentic work, that it be authentic. We aspire to integration, that it integrate across disciplines, and that a student bring various lenses on a single issue, rather than lots of lenses on lots of different issues in different worlds. We aspire to that. We aspire to student ownership, which means voice and choice. We need to have student voice and choice in the projects, not only in doing them, but in the project design. So we try for that. And then finally, we aspire to beautiful work. The end of our work, the end of our end result, our end product, our end goal is to have beautiful work. We don't want dumpster projects. We don't want projects that the day after the exhibition, you walk by the dumpster and there's lots of projects sitting in there. We don't want that. We want products of lasting value. So we've had the one that I talked about the keyboard for the cerebral palsy. That's a product of lasting value. We've had kids do herb gardens with a special kind of irrigation system on a wall outside the school. A product of lasting value. It's going to be up there for years. So we're looking for lasting value on a project. There's no other book that has influenced us more than a book by Ron Berger. I think you have the reference, by Ron Berger called An Ethic of Excellence. And it's about creating a culture within your classroom, and by extension within your school, where people are after beautiful work, where they're going after beautiful work. They're trying to define it, they're trying to create it, and they're trying to share it and appreciate it. Now, just a few other notes of a general way. Range of products. One indicator of quality in a project session that a group has been doing has to do with range of products. If they all look the same, we're a little bit concerned, because that's teacher ownership. If they look different, then there's been a lot of significant student choice and input into those projects. So a range of products can be important. It can be even a range of selection of the means. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a 15-page paper. You know, I'm going to do a flash animation. I'm going to write a skit, and we're going to perform it. And so different ways of showing that we understand the content that we've been exploring. So a range of models, the use of models. I talked about just a little bit about saying what's a quality presentation. You've got a great you've done a project, and you've disappointed in some of the work that you've seen, some of the products that have emerged. But you've got two or three that are really great, that really hit it. Take those two or three next time around. Show them to your students and say, what's in this? What makes this a compelling product, or a successful product, or beautiful work? Put them up on a board. These are the characteristics of strong work. Develop your rubric around that. The students have generated it in their own language, and now they know how they can be assessed, and they know what some of the qualities are that they're heading towards for beautiful. So the use of models. Ron Berger talks about student with one piece of work, but to take a piece of work and help the whole class understand what makes quality work. So critique as an instructional technique, as well as then critique as a way of helping an individual student with individual work, which generates into peer critique. We need to expand our reach with our students and relieve ourselves of the burden of being the only arbiter of quality or of suggestions for movement. Our students can help with that and can make good suggestions and so forth, and we need to fan that out a little bit. I've talked already about the notion of creative versus academic versus applied work, and we try to bring those together in all of our engineering design versus scientific method and so forth. Design and build, design and build. You walk into High-Tech High, you can't tell whether it's a technical school or a college prep school, and when you walk down the hall, kids are making stuff with power tools and so on. It's not shop class, it's physics class, or it might be humanities class, and so on. So we're trying to blur some of those distinctions. Then finally, two final things. One has to do with venue. We've got our kids presenting their work. We've got our kids doing poetry readings in local coffee houses. We've got kids displaying their work in local art galleries. We've had kids doing multimedia presentations in the Institute for Contemporary Art. There are lots of public places that we've been able to find where people are willing to say, yeah, bring your kids in. We'll set up an installation for an evening. Bring the whole community in to see our work. That does wonderful things, both in terms of sharing your work with the community, but also in upping the ante a little bit for your students. If I'm going to present before my class, I've done that before, no big deal. But if my work is going to appear somewhere else, or I'm going to be performing in a coffee house, it's a different kind of investment that we get from that. And the last thing that I want to say about projects in relation to academic content. What we are looking for at High-Tech High, we don't always get it, but when we don't get it, we talk about it. This is the thing I talk about with teachers more than anything else. We are looking for a process through the project in which the content is transformed in some way. And we sometimes see products where kids are asked to research something, and they go on the internet, and they get something, and they pull it off, and they type it out, print it out, and they put it over here on their presentation board, and that's their product. That's their project. That, of course, is an extreme case, and we never see that anymore. But when we see something that looks like that, where nothing has been done, the content has not been acted on, that's a concern for us. And we're asking, well, how could we better design this project so that the content would have to be transformed? You can't do this. You can't meet our criteria without transforming this content. I'll give one example, and then we're done. That's a little late. I'm sorry. I know it's Friday. Oh, God. One example. The travel brochure, right? We've seen many instances where we're studying Southeast Asia, the different countries. Kids pick a country, and you do a travel brochure about that country. And then you display it somewhere, and it goes up on the wall. And you get some very nice brochures. And what do you get? The industrial products, right? The population, the demographics, the form of government, everything that you can find in the encyclopedia, you get in that travel brochure, right? So it's inert content. It has come from some source, and here it now is. It might be prettied up a little bit, but it's the same stuff, and it's in the brochure. The travel brochure is case number one of failure to transform content. Suppose, this is a suggestion I've made to at least one teacher at High, more than one, a couple of teachers at High-Tech High. Suppose, rather than do a travel brochure, you designed a tour of that country. Now, if you design the tour, who's it for? Is it an adventure tour? Is it for elders? Is it a tour for people interested in historical sites? Who's the audience? We try to bring a lot of the project time into the classroom. So you'll walk in the classrooms and you'll see kids in groups working on their projects. And you'll see that especially when the exhibition is coming up. It's like full blast, everybody's working on stuff. And it's a wonderful time to be there because you can really talk with kids about their work and so on. And as the exhibition approaches, you see kids spending more and more time after school, staying after school, or working at home on it. Our take on homework is we don't have any central definition of homework time and so forth, but our teachers do give homework. Our math teachers give drill and so on to come back in. There's work that students need to do for their projects by way of interviewing people, perhaps, that might take place after school time. So it's varied, but it's up to the teacher to design that. But there's a substantial amount of time that kids spend outside of school as well. I hope that answers your question. Yeah. There's no single answer to it.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.